I'll start off with drilling some countersunk pilot holes at the hinge locations on the door jamb, and then starting some 3-inch screws, making sure the screws don't stick through the outside of the door jamb. Next up, you're going to want to run a bead of caulking or silicone. I usually run 2 beads with a zigzag strip down the middle, and I use the whole tube. I'll do the 2 strips in a little zigzag pattern, and then I'll finish off with the 2 strips again, and whatever I have left goes right back in the middle down that zigzag until I run out. After you get done with your caulking or your silicone, stand the door up into place. If you're working alone like I am, you can open the door so it's at a 90 to the door frame, and it'll rest on the door. Then you can walk outside of the door so you can access your screws. I like to set the center screw on the hinge side of the door first. Get the door frame lined up with the house and set that screw, but don't tighten the screw down all the way. Leave it about a 1/4 inch out. You always want to use a level to plumb your door. Don't just line it up with the house and screw the screws down. Get a level, make sure it's plumb. Again, leave these screws about a 1/4 inch out so you have space for your shims. I put my shims right on top of that screw, one from each side of the door, inside and outside. Grab a level and make sure your door frame is plumb this direction. Use the shims to make it plumb. Make sure your screws have enough give in them so that as you're tapping your shims in, your door frame will adjust. Sometimes you might have to loosen the screw up a little bit to give it some more play. I do the same thing on the latch side of the door frame. I'll set that center screw first. Instead of using a level on this side, you look at the door seal. You make sure the door seal hits the top and bottom at the same time, and then you tighten your upper and your lower screws. Again, leaving space for shims. What you're looking for on this side of the door when you adjust your shims is the gap between the door and the door frame. You want it to be even from top to bottom. It doesn't matter how many shims you put in a door. The shims are there to hold it in place. I'll spend a lot of time on this part of hanging a door, making sure that door frame is nice and even with that door when it shuts. All doors close differently. Some doors you have to push really hard, and some doors you don't. Depends on the manufacturer and the seal they put in. Don't worry too much about how hard you have to push on the door to get it to shut and latch. Just make sure it seals and it's nice and straight. If the door's hung correctly, you should be able to let go of the door at any given point and have it stay there, not swing open and not swing shut. Last part of hanging the door, go around and score your shims. Snap them off. If you score them on the right side, push them to the right side to snap them off, and they'll snap off nice and clean. This is the last door I'm doing on my house. This is a door that came in the wrong size and I had to reorder it. I'm using the same door handles on all the doors. So I've got the template, mark where I need to drill a hole, and start putting the door handle in. The rest is just the hardware for the door handles and the latch. It's always good to find the longest screwdriver possible when you're putting a door handle on, and make sure you have plenty of room. This is one point where I don't use a drill to tighten the screws up. Number one, I don't like to over tighten them. Number two, I don't like that screwdriver bit in the drill to slip. Your door should come with hardware with extra long screws in it. These extra long screws are for your hinges. Usually there's 2 screws closest to the seal on the upper hinge that you will replace with long screws that go all the way into the studs of the wall. This keeps your door from sagging. That's about all there is to it. Installing a new door or replacing a door, it's the same process. Make sure you go through the steps in order though. If you start putting screws in places and not leveling stuff up in the right order, you're gonna fight it. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, go make something.